Hello, today we're looking at Advanced Organizers from Chapter 31. Now, last week we read a story called Anansi and the Birds. In this story, Anansi, a very tricky spider, got feathers from all the birds around him to make himself wings. He used those wings to fly to the top of a mountain and eat all the food that belonged to the birds. They were angry about this, so they took the feathers back and a crow kicked him off the mountain. And as he fell, an owl came and saved him, reminding him that he's a spider. He told him to push on his belly, and he did, and he shot web when he did. And so the owl grabbed that web and tied Anansi up to a tree and saved him. And Anansi learned that it's good to be yourself, not to try to be something he was not. However, this week we read a story about Millie, the girl who makes a million mistakes. She really wants to be a world-class athlete. She wants to win a hurdle race, and so she practices, and she falls, she hurts herself, she scrapes her knees, she breaks a tooth, and unfortunately the first time she tries to win the race, she doesn't. She breaks all the hurdles, and when she does try to jump over one, she falls. But then she goes right back to practicing, and at one point she jumps too high and gets stuck in a tree. And she's worried, but then she says, I can figure this out. She empowers herself, and she realizes she could take her shoestrings off her shoes, tie some branches together, and reach this kite that was also in the tree. And she uses that kite to parachute down with some cats that were stuck in the tree. And then she was okay. And then she went back to practicing, and in the end, she won a hurdle race. She did a second race, and she won that one. So her moral, her lesson at the end of the story was to keep trying, and it's okay to make mistakes because you can always get better. So, these stories kind of contradict. Their morals are kind of opposite, right? Well, let's take a look at something. We've been talking about character development. We have these two characters, Anansi and Millie, and character development and morals are very intertwined. Anansi, he tricks others. He's tricky. He's selfish. He only thinks about himself. And technically, Millie is thinking about her own sort of path here, but she's not like Anansi. He's just trying to take food that's not his because he really wants it. Millie didn't steal anything or do anything like that. And he is helped. Owl helps him. Whereas Millie, she's determined, more so than Anansi. I mean, he only does this thing once and he learns a lesson. He's not that invested in it. But she helps herself. She doesn't need someone to help her. She can do it herself. And she tries again. She keeps at it. Anansi doesn't do that. But look how much they have in common, these two characters that learn totally different lessons. They're both clever. For sure they're both clever. They both try to be different. They both grow as characters. And they both practice. You see that a lot with Millie's story. But Anansi practiced with his makeshift wings before he learned how to use them right. Funny enough, they both use string, right? And they both learn. They're both dynamic. They change. So how is it that we get to this? Well, like I said, character development and moral of the story are very intertwined. Sometimes the journey will make a character learn something that they wouldn't always know by what happens to them, the events, the influences. Now, sometimes influences are inside. We have Millie here. She has an influence that's inside herself where she calms herself down. She figures out her problem to get out of the tree. Whereas Anansi, he's influenced by the birds. He's influenced by, the owl. It all shapes him to get to this place where he realizes it's good to be himself. But Millie, she was herself the whole time. Right? She was always Millie. She just wanted to be this sort of better version of herself that could be this world-class athlete, and she wasn't at the beginning. So maybe these two morals don't really contradict like they seem to. Maybe they go in hand, and sometimes certain morals, certain lessons are better for some people and not others. Millie doesn't need to be reminded that she's herself, like it's good to be herself. She always is. But Anansi, he doesn't need to be a better spider. He doesn't need to be better in that way. So when we're looking at more stories moving forward, we're going to still look at character development. We're still going to be thinking about what the events are, the influences that impact the characters. But we're also going to start looking at how their change and their specific, like unique to themselves change affects what they learn. Remember, these are very similar characters technically, but they learn totally different things. Thank you.